one of our bottlenecks right now in terms of making more machines, in terms of like making more speed upgrades, in terms of expanding our refined storage system. Basically everything that we need to make requires plastic in some way, shape, or form. And the plastic is, of course, acquired via the pumping and processing of oil, which, as of right now, we have done. We've depleted all of the oil that is like immediately next to our base. And so between streams, I went out with the old jetpack and tried to find nearby deposits of oil. I did find 4 of them. And so we do have a couple of locations to where we could possibly get some more plastic. And I think, chat, I might even start today's stream by just moving this like little temporary portable. I say portable. It's quite a janky setup that is going to take a minute or so to recreate. But this is kind of our oil processing setup that hopefully we can just pick up and put down over there somewhere to get us some more oil. Just use a big tank and get the oil back. So one thing that I did learn about between streams actually is that we do have what are called dimensional tanks as well as dimensional chests, which work in a similar way to ender tanks and ender chests from the ender storage mod. But these don't look too difficult to make. They do require a couple of ender pearls as well as one of these ender cores here. But if we make 2 of these, you make a good point actually. Yeah, we can just pump the oil back as opposed to tearing this whole setup down. Okay, I am all for this. If we leave this here, we can just take, actually, I guess what we would need to take is the wind generator maybe for power. But if we, first of all, turn off the visualization for the sewer, and then if we just grab the old pump, and in fact, it probably makes sense to make a new pump. Up until now, I've been kind of breaking the pump, putting it down to pick up all the oil, and then once all the oil is picked up, I then break it again and put it back down to pump water into the mixer here. But I guess if we're going to have a permanent setup, then we probably want to get a second pump, and then we can have one pump that we kind of move around from spot to spot to spot, getting oil, and then sending it back via the dimensional tank to our, oil processing location. It saves us having to move this whole setup, right? So if we're going to make the pump, we need more steel casing, which requires steel. And as Chad has handily pointed out, we can, if we want, upgrade our metallurgic infuser here, much like we upgraded our enrichment chamber previously, into a metallurgic factory. And if we do that, and it's probably easier if I type in metallurgic, what's the upgraded version of this called, chat? It is called the Infusing Factory. So basic Infusing Factory. This guy requires 2 control circuits, 2 iron ingots, and then 4 redstone. That is actually rather easy for us to do. And then we might even be able to go up 1 more tier here, because the Advanced Infusing Factory requires 4 infused alloys, 2 advanced control circuits, which I think we can make nice and easily. And then, boom, we have an Advanced Infusing Factory. The difference being that instead of being able to do 3 recipes at a time, the advanced version can do 5 recipes at a time, which is very nice indeed. And I think it would probably also be beneficial for us here to maybe fill this guy up with energy and speed upgrades just to make this as fast as possible. I also think we might end up in today's stream making some more processing speed upgrades as well to really speed up our alloy furnace and really start to get these resources being made just a little bit faster. Especially now we have the refined storage system here. We can probably start making some of this stuff quite a bit quicker. So let me bookmark speed and energy upgrades. I'll also bookmark this one as well for later on in the stream. So what do we need for the energy upgrades? These ones are gold dust, glass, and infused alloys. I think we have basically all of that. We do. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and shift-click these in. And I think that's all of them, right? It is. Nice. If we want to make the speed upgrades, these ones are exactly the same, but with osmium dust. Now, right now, we don't have any osmium dust, but we can, of course, go ahead and throw some osmium into the old crusher here. Now, thankfully, we don't really have to worry too much about getting more biofuel for our biogenerator because we do now have this dimensional cell pulling power in from our wind generators in the sky. Yeah, I think we might also just want to upgrade maybe all of these machines to have full energy upgrades. How much gold dust did I make? We've got 32. So yeah, I think we can probably make quite a few of these. I think we might be limited by how many infused alloys we have. But for now, at least, we can go ahead and kind of fill this guy up with energy upgrades. And the energy upgrades are really just there to offset the eventual speed upgrades that we make. Because if we just put in the speed upgrades without the energy upgrades, then of course at that point, it would take quite a large amount of power that I don't currently think that we have. Do I have any enriched redstone? I do indeed. Fantastic. So now, over here, we can throw our redstone in, of course, I believe right here, and then we can throw our iron in, and if we turn on auto sort, it's going to spread that across, and it's going to do 5 of these simultaneously, which is super nice. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's so fast, chat. Boom, that's 40 of those infused alloys. Nice and quick. So now let's go ahead and make some speed upgrades. And these are kind of self-perpetuating here. And we are going to need, by the looks of it, some more glass. Did I start smelting more glass? I didn't. Okay, so we should definitely get that going as well. It might not be a terrible idea, chat, for us to look at getting the electric furnace from Mechanism, which is not called that. It's called the smelter. And, of course, we can upgrade it to be a smelting factory as well. But if we get one of these guys going, then we could potentially, also start to smelt at factory speeds as well, which I think would be very nice, especially for casual smelting, like with sand and whatnot. So really all we're missing for this is a silicon bowl here, which is just coal and sand in the old alloy furnace here. So we'll go ahead and make, I think, quite a bit of this. We are going to need quite a few of these bowls going forward. All right, so that is actually, I think, fairly easy for us to make. So there's the steel casing, and there is the energized smelter. And just like before, we'll go ahead and upgrade that to basic, and I think even to advanced. And as somebody did point out in the Twitch chat, we could probably, even if we wanted to, take it one step further and go to the elite smelting factory, which I believe can do 7 at a time. Because again, these reinforced alloys and elite control circuits are really not too bad. We do have quite a few diamonds and even more diamond ore in our digital miner chest for the future. But for now, I think 5 is probably fast enough. And so for now, let's go ahead and move this hopper. And I'm just going to stick the smelter, I think, like right here for the time being. We should probably like redo the wall. Maybe I might like set up another wall of machines over here and kind of move these downstairs at some point. Especially now that we could, if we wanted to, put external storages onto all of these to be able to access them from within our refined storage system. But now that we have that guy, what we can do is we can go ahead and grab a large amount of sand. And just throw all of that into here. Turn auto sort on. And again, as soon as we get a couple more of the old speed upgrades going, that should be nice and fast. There we go. Let's stick all those in. Now we're talking, chat. Now we're talking. That is using 200 RF per tick without any energy upgrades, but that is, I think, actually fine. I do think, though, that maybe we should put the speed upgrades for now in the old osmium, in the old crusher, just so we can make speed upgrades faster. All right, so now we can go ahead and upgrade this guy as well. Let's turn this guy into the old elite enriching factory. Oh, sorry, the advanced enriching factory. Kapow. And then we'll throw him back down. And, of course, fill him up with... Oh, look at that. We've got 5 slots. Beautiful. And then, of course, now that we have this, we can go and fill him up with speed and energy upgrades as well. See, now we are once again limited by the electric furnace. I don't know, though. Can we smelt these in the electric furnace from Mechanism? We can't, right? Which is super annoying. Like, you can... So, like, this is as fast as I believe we can go with this. Like, we would have to get more processing speed upgrades to make this guy faster. But you can't use the smelting factory for smelting this stuff, which is kind of annoying. We do just at the bottom here to output and turn auto-eject on. You can or triple, then you can smelt with the Mechanism smelter. Really? So, or tripling. Let me temporarily, like, turn this guy off on the old input side there so he stops bringing ores in. If we wanted to triple our ores, we would first have to run it through the Purification Chamber, which does require oxygen, but that's fine. That's just water. And we can get water with a pump, of course, that we do already have. And then that turns it into iron clumps. We can then crush that into iron or dirty iron dust, and then we can then enrich that. Oh, no, we can then smelt that into iron ingots. I see. Okay. So if we get a purification chamber, or even a purification factory, and then from there we get a upgrade our current crusher to maybe like a crushing factory, we can then use our current energized smelter, our current advanced smelting factory, to get that going nice and fast. I think that's probably definitely worth it, chat. And as I was mentioning, I know we got distracted with the old oil thing. I will get around to doing that. But I think we can also make like 2 sets of tanks here. Essentially what I'm thinking is that we already have a pump pumping water for our oil setup over in the distance there. I'm thinking what we can do is we can make 2 lots of dimensional tanks, maybe even 3 lots of dimensional tanks, because we want 1 tank pulling the water from that pump and sending it to what is going to be the electrolytic separator to make oxygen for our purification chamber. We also probably want a dimensional tank for oil to bring the oil back from afar and send it to our oil processing. And on top of that, I think we also probably want to get a dimensional tank in the nether with another pump pumping lava and bringing it to the overworld so we can use it for making things like the silicon that we need for refined storage. So, Purification Chamber, I assume is not going to be too difficult for us here. Let's make a few of these steel casings. So the Purification Chamber does require an Enrichment Chamber. And then we can upgrade that with some of these advanced control circuits. I'm surprised that we still have basic control circuits. I assume we're running low on those. But surprisingly, we have quite a few of them. I would have thought that it would be those that we're running out of, given that we're making so many of these infused alloys. Nevertheless, they're both fairly easy for us to make now, which is very nice indeed. So we'll go ahead and craft up one of those. And then we might as well go ahead and upgrade that to a Purifying Factory. And might as well also make it the Advanced Purifying Factory. So all of our machines are about at the same level there. From there, we go over into the Crusher that we already have. We'll just upgrade this guy to an Advanced Crushing Factory. And once again, we are out of infused alloys, chat. There we go. So now all we have to do is run things from a chest, through the Advanced Purifying Factory, through the Crusher, and into the Smelter. So let's get rid of this and this for the time being. And let's also get rid of, I guess, this and this. And then let's think how I want to do this. So I think we can have this essentially just be a row of machines because all of the mechanism machines do have auto-eject available to them. So we can essentially just have the Smelting Factory, and then the Crushing Factory, and then the Purification Factory with potentially a hopper here and a chest maybe like right up here, like that. At this point, we can just put any of our ores into here, and much like the dimensional tank that I keep talking about, there is a dimensional chest as well. I will bookmark both of these, and so with the dimensional chest, what we can do is we can stick one of these onto our digital miner and thus automatically bring all of the ores back to our base and, send all of the ores through to the Advanced Purifying Factory to be automatically processed. And so I guess if we're going to do that, we probably want to have our electrolyzer up here like this. So the oxygen can go out to the Purifying Factory. And then we can put our hydrogen tank, which we're still using, of course, for our jetpack fuel, right about there. And now we get to actually use both of those. I will set these both to dump excess, so it never gets slowed down by like any of these two tanks filling up. And at that point, chat, we can then go ahead and throw all of our ores back in here. And as long as we set the sides right, so we want input on the right, and then output on the bottom, auto eject on. Here we want input on the top, output on the bottom, auto eject on. And here we want the same again. We want input on the top, output on the bottom. We don't need auto eject on here, but I will go ahead and set it on anyway. And also we do want auto sort on for all of these. So at this point, really all we need is more speed and energy upgrades, once again. So let's quickly, how much osmium do we have? Osmium dust, that is. We have a little bit. Let's get like another half stack of osmium dust. We'll throw it in the Advanced Crusher real quick and get that going. That's already nice and fast. And then we also do need to do the same with gold as well. We do want to make sure this doesn't get smelted, so we do want to grab this kind of nice and quick here. This guy is using 475 RF per tick, which is a little high. But that's because he doesn't have a full suite of energy upgrades just yet. So let's also grab some gold. Actually, we already have gold. How are we doing on the old enriched alloys? We are not doing great on the old enriched alloys. So in that case, I guess let's go ahead and grab some iron and start making more of those over here. We do have more iron and more redstone, by the way, available to us. We are going to have to make another enrichment chamber, actually, now that we've upgraded our current. Oh, no, we don't. We have it here. Throw you down there. The good news is that now we can just use this enrichment factory for making these, enriched versions of materials, like redstone and coal and whatnot. Ooh, we can get the gas upgrades as well, of course. So the gas upgrade allows the machine to use less gas, which is very good because it just requires iron dust, because the electrolytic separator is quite slow. I assume we could put 8 of these in. We can. So now it's going to use oxygen much more slowly than it would have done previously. It's 10 times more efficient, and so we don't have to be producing it quite as fast, which is very nice. We are, I think, most certainly, chat, going to want to make more wind turbines to add to our collection in the sky if we want to continue to run everything at maximum speed. Thankfully, these are rather easy for us to make. And given the dimensional cell that we have, we can put them very high up and get maximum power out of all of them. Now, being the fool that I am, I didn't bring any, like, I brought one conduit with me, which I think is fine. These don't really have a problem being, like, in close proximity to each other. So they don't really care too much. And I can't put sand here. They don't really care too much about being too close to another wind turbine. So I'm fairly certain that we could, if we wanted to, just put them down, like, directly opposite the current ones to really bump up our power output here. 189 RF per tick is actually kind of crazy for how cheap these are. So we're producing close to 700. No, we're producing close to like 1,400 redstone flux per tick here, which might be encroaching the transfer rate of these cables. Oh no, these can do 1,200. Oh yeah, no, we are 1.28. So yeah, we're making just shy of 1,400. We might be about at the 1,280 RF per tick that these universal cables can transfer. What's 189 times by 7? It's 1,323. So we are actually bottlenecked right now by our universal cable, but I think that's fine. We're not too far over the line. They are fairly easy to upgrade, much like the factories. I'm fairly certain the next tier is basically just some enriched iron. Yeah, it is. So that's actually not too bad whatsoever. And if we want to add more cables going forward, I will. Or want to add more wind turbines going forward, I will upgrade those cables. Okay, so yeah, right now the thing that's slowing us down is the lack of oxygen, and that's because we're not pumping water to our electrolytic separator. But that is a very solvable problem, chat. Let me quickly make 2 more speed upgrades here just to max out the Purifying Factory. How are we doing down here? You've got 5 energy and 8 speed, so let me put 3 more energy in you. And you, I think, are full up on both. You are indeed. So now all of these are fully maxed out with speed and energy upgrades. You have 8 speed and 8 energy. Fantastic. And you have 8 speed and 8 energy. Nice. All right. So all of our machines now, all of our factories now, I should say, are fully speed and energied up. I am probably not going to speed up the electrolytic separator too much, because I know this guy does get pretty crazy pretty fast when it comes to redstone flux per tick. We might have to put energy upgrades in at base speed just to make sure that it's not using too much of our power. But essentially, let's have a look and see if we can't get our first set of dimensional tanks going here. So these are made with glass, a cauldron, a solid dimensional core, and then 4 dimensional walls. These are iron, redstone, and ender pearls. Easy enough. We are currently out of redstone. However, we do, of course, have, I think, maybe 2 and a bit stacks of redstone ore over in our digital miner chest. And now that we have an advanced enriching factory, we should be able to process that into a ton of redstone nice and quick. So we just throw all of these in here. Those are going to nice and quickly process into a bunch of redstone for us. And then, of course, we can come back over and actually make those dimensional walls. We do only make 1 at a time, so we are going to have to make, a few more of these. But that's fine. Cauldrons are easy enough. And then the actual solid dimensional core is 8 iron and a dimensional core. Non-solid, I guess. Which requires redstone, iron, and then an ender core, which is an eye of ender, a dielectric casing, and a basic capacitor. So let's look at getting some more of this dielectric paste. And I think we'll look at maybe getting like quite a bit of dielectric paste here. So we have quite a few of the old boules lying around. They might be over in here. They are indeed. We have 7 boules. So if we get our saw, we can turn all of those boules into wafers, because I'm pretty sure that's all they're used for anyway. And then from there, let me go and bookmark the old dielectric paste. We are going to have to go and get some more leaves, potentially, chat, if we want to get more biofuel. So let me grab my shears. Then we're going to throw those through the crushing factory that we have over here. And then we can basically put all of that into our metallurgic infuser and then use that to get, with the wafers, to get a large amount of that dielectric paste, just so that we don't have to be constantly, making it fresh every time we need it. If we just make one large batch now, we'll kind of have it for at least a little while before we look into automating it. All right, so we'll throw all of you in here. That's going to get us a nice amount of biofuel. Do we still have redstone in here? We do. So I'm going to real quick just throw like a lot more of our iron through here. And maybe actually I might throw some of our osmium in as well. We do have a fair bit of osmium in our system. Yeah, we've got a bunch of osmium in here. So I think I will use some of this redstone for making more of these basic control circuits as well. But once all that redstone is used, we can then start to throw in the biofuel that is being made over here on the left-hand side. And then we can combine that up with the old silicon wafers. That's going to get us a ton of dielectric paste, which is very nice indeed. And I will put in a few more wafers here just to use up the last of that biomass. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. All right. So now that we have a nice amount of dielectric paste, it should hopefully be fairly easy for us to make some more of these ender cores here. So the rods, yeah, are actually super easy. I'll in fact make quite a few of these, like 2 batches of both. Iron bars, of course, not going to be a problem for us. And I have kind of been making the refined iron just kind of passively. Whenever I log on, I usually throw some sand and some iron into here just because I know we need it so regularly. But that is the dielectric casing taken care of. I'll make a second one because we do need 2 tanks. And then in terms of the basic capacitor, I think we actually already have a basic capacitor. We only need the tiny one here. And I think we already have quite a few. I think before I crafted that, we already had basic capacitors. Yeah, we got a few of them, but they're not going to go to waste. We're going to use them most certainly. Blaze rod wise, we do have some blaze rods. Now I did learn before we can turn these into more blaze powder, but we need the crushing factory that we don't have. Right, we need the one from Silent Mechanisms. And so for now, I'm just going to craft them simply due to the fact that we can get more fairly easily. And I think we are going to set up a blaze farm here at the base in the coming streams. So I'm not really too worried about that. And so with that, chat, I think we have pretty much everything it takes to make 2 more of these ender cores. We have the Eyes of Ender, we have the dielectric casing, and we have the tiny capacitors. So now, over here, Eye of Ender, dielectric casing, and capacitor. Hopefully that's going to start getting its beam from our basic energizing rod. We could probably look at maybe upgrading that. I think we do have another energizing rod. We do. We have the starter one, which is going to add a little bit of speed, I think, to this. Albeit not much. What is the next tier of energizing rod like? So it needs a block of quartz, it needs a dielectric casing, and it needs 2 hardened capacitors, which require dielectric paste, energized steel, and then a basic capacitor large, which is 2 basic capacitors. The energized steel is steel and electrum, which is not impossible. The electrum is gold and silver in the old alloy furnace here, so not too bad whatsoever. All right, and there we go. That is 2 ender cores. Fantastic. So now, chat, over here, we should have everything it takes to make this solid dimensional core. Like so. And then from there, we should have everything it takes to make 2 of these dimensional tanks. Nice. So essentially, all that we are going to do here, and I think this does have an auto output mode, so I think we can, in fact, just put the tank like right there and set the top of the electrolyzer, and set the top of the electrolytic separator to input, which I think it is by default. So, oh no, it's not. You have to pump the water in from the front, I think. Let me see. See, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try putting this just right here. So this tank here has a couple of options. On the right, you can click this little button here. So we're going to set the owner to me. We don't want it to be public. We'll set the frequency to 76. Locked, no. And then at the bottom here it says idle or auto eject. I'm going to turn auto eject on in the hope that it pushes water into the electrolytic separator. We might have to move this up by 1 and have a mechanical pipe bring the water down and into here. If it only outputs from the top and the bottom, I'm actually not too sure. But if we go and put the other one down by our pump over here, we should be able to send that water automatically over. Now, I think if we're going to do that, again, the pump only outputs water from the top. At that point, we probably want to move this guy up by 1. Like this. And we are going to have to get like another connector to connect him up on the back, but I think that's fine. And then for now, let's go grab... Actually, for now, let's just nab this mechanical pipe. And plop it down like we're right about here, like so. And then we're going to have our tank right there. We're going to set this to GamingOnCaffeine and then frequency 76. And so now that should be syncing up. And you'll see the liquid is disappearing, which I believe means that that is being sent over and into our electrolytic separator. I see our factory is working. Look at that. Fantastic. So it is getting the water and then sending it all the way over to our electrolytic separator. Right now, it's not going super fast. We can, if we want, by the way, put speed and energy upgrades into the pump as well to make that pump just a little bit quicker. But yeah, there we go. And we're going to do the same thing for oil. We're going to have that used to send oil from afar and bring it back to our oil processing. And I think we'll also at some point do the same thing with lava, where we have a pump in the nether that will, pump up lava and then bring it back for use in the dissolution chamber and in other crafts as well, if they're so needed. So that should now hopefully be good to go. You'll see it's not quite producing oxygen anywhere near fast enough, probably due to the large number of speed upgrades that we have in here. We could make this faster. It is already using 160 FE per tick, and if I'm not mistaken, this doubles every time you put a speed upgrade in. Yeah, so now it's up at 320. Let me get... And you can't put energy upgrades in this, right? We found that out before. Was that correct? Like, the energy upgrade doesn't work on the electrolytic separator? Yeah, it doesn't. So energy upgrades are entirely useless there. I think 320 is probably fine, but 640 might be pushing it. And of course, 1280 is definitely pushing it. Yeah, you can see now we're not producing enough power to keep up with that. And with 1, we're not producing enough oxygen, so maybe we take out like another speed upgrade. Then this is with 8 gas upgrades. That seems to be holding about steady. Obviously, it's not as fast as I would like. Like, we have got enough to speed this up further in terms of speed upgrades, but we are limited by how fast we can make oxygen. And for now, this is fine. And it does also give us the side benefit of getting fuel for our jetpack faster, which is also very nice indeed. So I guess, chat, we should probably... Let's go and let's make more of those tanks. We'll do the ender cores here first, I think, simply due to the fact that those are going to take a little bit of time to charge up. But we'll do the same thing we just did with our water with oil here. So 2 more eyes of ender. And yeah, that's fine. And then 2 more dielectric casing and 2 more tiny capacitors. Fantastic. Let's get all of those cooking up over here. While we wait for that to cook up, let's see if we don't have what it takes to make another pump, because I would like to keep the one we currently have where it is and move the new one over to the new oil area. We do indeed. Fantastic. That was nice and easy. I think we might as well go ahead and get the electrum required for... And you know what? I'll make a fair bit of this. I think I'll make like... Looks like 16 gold and 16 silver. Just because I know it's needed going forward as well. And if we're going to do quite a few of these, we might as well make the upgrade, right? And then we also need steel, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Yes, we have steel, so that's not too bad. But was it steel and electrum in the alloy furnace? To make the energized steel? No. Oh, we energize the steel and the electrum. I see. Okay, so we take our electrum and we take our steel and we throw it through this same process. All right, so that should allow us to get this next tier here. So we'll make a large basic capacitor, and then we'll upgrade that to this hardened capacitor, like so. And then at that point, I think we have basically everything. We should have enough nether quartz. And we can go and grab our basic rod here. So the basic rod caps out at 50 redstone flux per tick, whereas the hardened rod does 120. So just over double the amount of redstone flux per tick, which is very nice indeed. Then what's the tier after that looking like? The tier after that is blazing, which requires the same setup again, but this time with a blazing capacitor, which is 4 blazing crystals, which are blaze rods and crimson iron. I think we do have 2 blaze rods. We do. And this can do 300 per tick. I think I might go straight up for this one, chat, here. given that you do get 2 at a time, and we do have Crimson Iron as well, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and upgrade this. Again, we will probably move the Blaze Spawner with the cardboard box over to our base, potentially as soon as next stream. So the Blaze Rods here, much like the Ender Pearls, now that we have that Villager, are not really super, and obviously we should put this down temporarily, but they're not really super sparse. Like, we can use them fairly liberally, I think. Alright, so now we have 4 of those Blazing Crystals. We should be able to upgrade our rod here. So the Blazing Rod requires 1 of those. Of course, let's go ahead and make another large capacitor first, and then upgrade to the old Blazing Capacitor. Make another block of quartz. And at that point, if we go and make another dielectric casing as well real quick, we should have everything it takes as long as we go and pick this guy up. Nice. And that's going to bump our redstone flux up to 300. And that will hopefully speed up the process of making these ender cores here quite a bit. So I do need 1 more dielectric casing now, because I used the last one making one of those energizing rods. But back over here, boom, boom, and boom. Yeah, there we go. Now it's going much quicker. Yeah, and that is getting power as well. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right. So once again, back over here, we should now be able to make another one of these dimensional tanks. How many? We made extra of the wall. Did I make enough extra? I did. So we already have enough wall. We just need to make 2 more of these. So we'll go ahead and make 2 of you, and then upgrade those to the solid version, like so. And with that, chat, we should have, I think, pretty much everything it takes to make 2 more dimensional tanks. Nice. So the plan here is to, first of all, sleep, because I would like to not have to go out. Oh, I can't sleep. There are monsters nearby. Okay. In that case, then, let's eat and have our swords at the ready. So essentially, chat, all we're going to do here is we're going to have 1 dimensional tank that is going to go right... I guess we'll put it right here. This is where the pump was previously. See, I wish I didn't auto-set to whatever... Oh, I see what's happened there. Okay. Do these retain their... So, annoyingly, what I think has happened there is that somebody on the server has a public frequency 1 tank that is filling up with water, which is a little unfortunate. It means as soon as you put the tank down, it fills up with water. But I'm hoping if I change this to GamingOnCaffeine and we call it like frequency 77, change, there we go. Now it's empty. And then we can put these back down again. So it's not a problem. It just means that we need to make sure it's not connected to anything unless I said it. That was you? Was it me? Oh, I guess it might have been me. So do I need to empty this out? You know what? I'll be the change I want to see in the world, chat. It was me. I didn't say it wasn't. I didn't say it wasn't me. I said somebody on the server. And then now what we have to do is go and put this pump down by the one of the other spots of oil. I think we probably actually... I don't know how much these can hold. They can hold 16 buckets. Because I'm thinking, the pump actually goes quite quick, the oil pump here, or the electric pump, and we can speed it up with speed and energy upgrades. Because I'm thinking I could probably actually get another mechanism tank, like maybe a high tier one, and then maybe just go from oil source to oil source to oil source to oil source and move these quite quickly, because it really doesn't take too long for the pump to pick up all of the oil deposits. And so I think if we get a nice big mechanism tank, we could probably just store a good amount of oil for processing fairly easily here. So we'll throw this guy down probably directly above the other tank, like just right here. Turn off bucket mode. There we go. And then set this to extract. Like that. So the oil should, if we make sure this is set to auto-eject, get pumped up into this tank and then get sucked through into here. Start getting processed. Again, we are going to have to reconnect the mixer up with some more blue connector, but that's fine. We can do that fairly soon here. If we want to get power over to our new area, we are going to have to get another one of these simple power cells with another card. So another one of these dimensional cells with another item.rftools.powercell_card. But again, I don't think these are going to be too bad to make. 4 blocks of redstone is fine. We've got an absolute ton of this stuff. This guy is probably the hardest part. Yeah, it was a little optimistic there, just hoping we had everything ready to go. So we need like silver and wafers, right? As well as quite a bit of the Teslatite. Now, while I wait for this to do its thing, do we have what it takes to make 2 more processing upgrades? I think we probably do, right? I'm fairly certain we have the plastic, and especially given that we're about to make more plastic with more oil, I feel fairly confident making 2 more of these. Just so we can speed this up to like the maximum speed that it can go. Because approximately half of our time is spent alloying in this pack. So now that that's done, we have all of the blue alloy ingots and we have the blue doped wafers. Let's see if we can't make this dimensional cell. So you are good to go. And then you are basically done. Just 2 more blocks of redstone and kapow. Nice. And then other than that, we just need the card, which is fairly easy to do. We are going to have to craft up some paper, but that's fine. I think we have the sugar cane. We do indeed. Nice. So we'll link this up here. I was told you can link this up anywhere, and you can indeed. And then all we have to do is head on over to our nearest oil source, chat, and we should be good to just start sucking up basically all of the oil that I found here. Like essentially all of this, we should be able to just go from spot to spot to spot, sucking it all up and sending it all back. I guess before I go, it would make sense to quickly fix... Actually, no, I think it's fine. I was going to say we can quickly fix the system with the XNet connector, because right now our oil is actually not going to be processed. But at the same time, I'm fairly certain that that's not going to be chunk loaded, which could prove problematic. I don't know how this works with chunk loading. Like if our other tank is not chunk loaded, does it still send it? Does it chunk load itself? I guess if it doesn't work, like if the base doesn't stay chunk loaded, at that point we could start looking at putting anchor upgrades into like all of our pumps. Because putting one in the oil processing pump, the one that's pumping water out, that is, by the oil processing setup, would keep all of the oil processing machines chunk loaded. And then if we obviously put one in the pump that is pumping the oil, that would also keep the oil pump chunk loaded as well, right? That might be necessary, because we might be a little too far away for everything to stay like loaded in. So here is oil batch number 1. The waypoint is on top of that tree because it was dark when I came here and I was hiding from mobs. So essentially, we're going to put you right about there. The power is going to go right about here. We're going to set you to output and link. So there we go. This now has energy. And then at that point, if we just put our tank, let's set the tank to its right frequency, which I think was 77, if I'm not mistaken. We'll know if it starts getting sucked up. So that is working. I mean, it's holding the fluid. But I don't know if, again, because the other one is not chunk loaded, it's quite possible that the oil's not being sent. Let me check that 77 was the correct frequency. It was. Yeah, okay, so that works when I come back. But yeah, it looks like this not being chunk loaded is what's causing the issue there. Like when I'm over by the other oil source, it's filling up that tank, but then not, this one's not loaded in, so it's not being sent to the mechanism tank above it. So let's see real quick, chat, if we can't make a couple of anchors. A couple of these guys right here. These do require yet more of these ender cores. How are we doing on ender pearls? We've got 5 ender pearls. So I think ideally I want to make at least 3 of these anchor upgrades. 1 for each pump, of which we currently have 2. We are going to need some blaze rods for this as well, so I'm going to quickly head through to the nether and see if we can't get one of those. But we want, ideally, 1 for each pump and then 1 for the digital miner over in the nether. So let's see real quick if this can take anchor upgrades. Supported speed, energy, filter, speed. Ooh. So maybe it doesn't take them? I just want to check this real quick. Speed. Energy. Anchor. Speed. Okay. So it would appear that the pumps are not capable of accepting the anchor upgrades. So we can't trunk load those in that way, which is unfortunate. Really. And thus, chat, I kind of feel like our best course of action here is probably just to do this manually then. It would have been nice to be able to use the dimensional tanks. They're not going to go to waste, of course. We can use the dimensional tanks that we've made for moving lava across dimensions. But for now, what I think we'll do is we'll just take the elite fluid tank here from point to point to point and try and get as much oil as we can, then bring it all back. All right. So let's go ahead and drop this guy down right about here. This tank is already sunk, so that is going to work just fine. And then, yeah, if we want this to continue to work, we do need to get another blue connector and connect that up. Because right now it's not sending the ethylene round, or the ethane, whatever it's called. So blue connector is actually not too bad. We do need some blue dye here, but that is totally fine. And of course a regular old chest, which should also, I think, be easy enough if you have the resources for it, which we definitely do. And there we go, nice. All right. We might also need some cable to get this over to where it needs to be. So we'll take some network cable as well. So this needs to go like right here. And then you need to go here and here. And I'm hoping the XNet controller still remembers. It doesn't. But that's okay. So all right. A few things. One, this doesn't need to, we want this to not connect. So fluids and then no connection there. I'm hoping that retains its no connection when I break and replace this. It does, fantastic. And then in here, we want to set the, let me go quickly grab my bucket of ethane that is currently in my system so we can filter the mixer to only accept that. So in here, we want mixer to create, and then we want to filter this. Hopefully that worked. It did, fantastic. And so now that should be mixing. Oh, it does need water though, right, as well. I'm a fool. Let me pop that. Let me reconnect that if I can. There we go. So that should, if we provide it with just a little bit of power, begin working as intended. And you know what? Just to save myself a trip back, I'm going to do something like this. And then we should start making more of the polyethylene, which we need for the solidifier here. Now, we do need to actually move this over, right? But this guy just... Actually, I think all we need to do here, chat, is essentially just do this and then move this guy up to here. Yeah, and at that point, we can then set this once again to fluid. And then set this to extract, like so. And at that point, we should then be once again making the plastic, which is nice. We're not making enough power, which is unfortunate. I guess we can, if we want, just go and make a few more wind turbines and throw those down just to speed that up a little bit. And then we'll just throw these down somewhat awkwardly like here and here. And at that point, we should then be producing enough power for this. Yeah, we are. Nice. Nice. We can also put some speed upgrades in here as well if we wanted to. Make that a little faster. In fact, I think I probably will move at least one of our speed upgrades over from our alloy furnace into that mixer. Because if the refinery is going faster than the mixer, then we run into the possibility of losing some of the ethane. Which, given how finite the oil is something I would prefer not to have to do. These really don't produce much power down here, so only 180 redstone flux per tick. Unfortunately, we can't know how much these machines use. Like, it doesn't say how much these machines are using. So I have no idea. Clearly, the answer right now is not enough. And also, our diesel tank is also full. We have so much diesel, chat. These tanks are pretty cheap. But, like, making more of them every time just to hold more diesel is a little crazy. Let's also get a hopper for taking the plastic out. Because that plastic is, it backs up pretty quickly. And we could probably also add, like, a chest to that, actually. So essentially, chat, all I'm thinking here is we can, once again, get rid of our diesel tank and replace it with yet another diesel tank. And then we'll do something like this. And actually, I guess we want to do something like this. And hopefully that works. I've not tested this, but I assume that does work. And it does look like it does look like we are now producing enough redstone flux to where this is running just fine. And I would assume the mixer is going slightly faster than the refinery here, which is also nice. That does indeed work. Fantastic. All right. So we're getting more plastic, which is very nice. And we do have a little bit of a janky system in place, but still a system in place to where we can just pick this tank up and go to any of our oil locations. People in the chat have pointed out that we could, if we wanted to, use the old entangler porter here, which is essentially like a device that lets you move items, fluids, or energy across wirelessly. So it's kind of like the dimensional tank, the dimensional chest, and also like the dimensional cells that we're using all bundled into one. They are quite expensive, but not ludicrously so. They do require quite a bit of this reinforced dust and quite a few diamonds, as well as another one of those ender cores there, but they're not really too far out of the question. So I might look at making one of these, maybe sooner rather than later, but we would need quite a few of them if we were wanting to, connect everything up with it. If we want to do power and items and fluids, potentially 3 or 4 of them, which does, of course, greatly increase their cost to us. But I think, chat, that's probably where I'm going to wrap up things for today. We do now have plastic coming in faster, which is great. We can use that for making more machines going forward. And we do also now have some upgraded machines as well. All of our mechanism machines are now upgraded to their factory tiers, making them nice and fast. We're getting even more ores, or even more ingots even, out of all of our ores, which is also very nice indeed. We've upgraded our infusing setup as well, or our energizing setup even, with the energizing orb and our energizing rods. Next time, I think we'll come back. We will look at beginning to craft things automatically. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I think we're going to need multiple alloy furnaces, or alloy smelters even, if we want to autocraft with these. But I think we can probably autocraft the parts to make that fairly easily. Like I said, we're probably going to need at least 3 alloy furnaces just to automate the process of making alloy furnaces, or alloy smelters even. Because we need to automate bismuth, brass, redstone alloys, and redstone alloy ingots. But that seems easy enough. And potentially also one for sapphire glass. Yeah, so maybe like 4 of them, just to automate this process. But once we have that up and running, we could then... And at that point, maybe we just don't need to automate the process of making them, but we also need these parts, like the circuit boards and the bismuth brass and the redstone alloys, for other things as well. So we might as well, get all that stuff automated nonetheless. But for now, guys, that is where I'm going to wrap up today's stream.